Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We are here on the Wacky and Weird Wednesday, your father and daughter news show where we look at the news 10 to 15 minutes before we start and without drinking any caffeine. That's what I wanted to say. So let's go ahead and see what weird stuff we're talking about today in our headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Don't worry, Alain Delon's family will not fulfill his request to kill his dog. And woman gets £35,000 as rape cases dropped after claims she had sexomnia.
And more weird news, Melbourne officials vote to ban e-scooters, and a Georgia mayor gets in trouble for stashing booze for prisoners.
1.6 million children live with adults who experience problems gambling, says a report.
A postcard in Wales arrives 121 years late, and we look at Nationwide as they shares its most unusual pet insurance claims.
Edinburgh Fringe highlights Uranus Culture's 5 comedy picks.
And it's National Senior Citizens Day, August 21st, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Okay. I'm all messed up. Welcome to our first story, which is all wacky and weird from France. I think it's from France. This is from the AV Club. Who wrote this story? Emma Keats. Here's a bit of news almost as insane as the one-woman plot to steal Graceland from Presley's family last week. I didn't even hear about that, but that's also crazy. After outrage from animal rights activists and presumably anyone who caught wind of the issue also possessed a working human brain, the family of the late French actor Alain Delon confirmed that they would spare the life of his beloved dog, whom he asked to be buried with whenever he died. No, not reading a plot ripped out of a 19th century novel. Yes, the dog is currently totally fine. Thank goodness. This comes from The Guardian, which reported that the pet, a healthy 10-year-old Belgian Malinois called a Lubo, was safe. I've just had Alain's daughter, Anuchka Delon, on the phone, and she has told me that Lubo is part of the family and will be kept. Dog will not be put down, a spokesperson from French animal rescue, the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, told the outlet. This all arose from an interview Delon gave to Paris Match in 2018, in which he expressed his love for Lubo in a particularly upsetting way. He is my end-of-life dog. I love him like a child, the actor said. I've had 50 dogs in my life, but I have a special relationship with this one. He misses me when I'm not there, he added. If I die before him, I'll ask the vet to take us away together.
Vincent Price.
He'll put him to sleep in my arms. I'd rather do that than know that he'll let himself die on my grave with so much suffering. He's like my child, and just like my children, when I die, I want them also to be put down. What do you mean he's like your child? It's unclear whether this was a serious request or just an oddly worded expression of love and fear from Delon. Either way, multiple animal rights organizations took the late leading man at his word, expressing concern and offering their help in finding Lubo a suitable new family. Thankfully, however, it sounds like the Malinois already had a loving home right where he is. Delon's children, including him, in the announcement of their father's death, which read, Alain, Fabien, Anuchka, Anthony, and as well Lubo are deeply saddened to announce the passing of their father. Additionally, Anuchka has posted multiple photos of the dog on her Instagram, with more heart emojis than anyone planning on unethically euthanizing would be expected to use. Whenever there's an unfortunate person, God sends a dog, she wrote in a caption, translated from French by The Guardian. Thank you, Lubo, for being there for your master. So, good luck, good job, wacky, kill my dog. If I die, kill my dog too, Even though he's completely healthy and nothing's wrong with him, he needs to die.
Yeah.
So he can go with me to heaven. Attachment issues is what I call that. Oh, it's crazy.
I would just go ahead and not kill the dog.
Yeah, don't do that. Forget it.
But
okay.
Your music died.
For my next story, we have 1.6. Sorry, that's not it. We have a woman getting £35,000 as rape cases dropped. This is from Neil Shaw on Wales Online. Woman has received £35,000 in compensation after her rape case was dropped amid claims she could have had an episode of sexomnia. Okay, so the judge has decided, yeah, we're not going to take your case to court because we've decided you have this sickness that you haven't gone to a doctor for or been diagnosed with. A medically recognized but rare sleep disorder which causes a person to engage in sexual acts whilst asleep. As first reported by the BBC, the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, has now admitted it was wrong in closing her case, saying it should instead have been taken to trial. And also, that's really suspicious. They're like, no, we're not gonna take this to trial because we think you have sexomnia. Okay, where's your proof? We don't have to prove ourselves. Your case has been dropped, you know? It has apologized and agreed to pay the 32-year-old £35,000 in damages. Spokesperson said, a settlement has been reached with Miss McCrossin Nethercroft, to whom have apologized unreservedly, and we continue to wish her the very best going forward. We are committed to improving every aspect of how life-changing crimes like rape are dealt with and are working closely with police from an early stage to ensure we focus on the behavior and actions of the suspect, not the victim. We remain positive about the progress being made and recognize there's still a long way to go to improve outcomes for victims. The more people can come forward and report with confidence. According to the BBC, Miss McCrossin Nethercott's lawyers from the Centre for Women's Justice said it was extremely rare for the CPS to make such a payout. Yeah, they're really covering something up here. Miss McCrossin Nethercott told the BBC's 1 Hour podcast on, I think this was done, last week, so on the 15th of August. It's a big triumph. It's been a long time coming and a real battle to get this part in my justice journey, but I'm feeling a sense of triumph, relief. There's a line in the sand now. So, Miss McCross Nethercross also told the podcast she believes sexomnia was a legitimate disorder, but she was concerned about its increased use as a line of defense for perpetrators. Oh yeah, I didn't rape her. She has sexomnia. Okay. Are you a doctor? Like, I don't understand why you can, unless they have a doctor come in and say, oh right, we did a sleep study on Miss McCrossin and we found she does have sexomnia. You can't just claim somebody has a disorder without having any proof. That's what's more wild to me. She said, I think the guidance needs to be better for both expert witnesses and the CPS in how they manage these complex legalities around sleep disorders. I do have concerns that this could have been used against victims in the future, which is probably for me the main driving force that I was really keen to waive my anonymity and speak about this. She documented her mission to prove the CPS had made a mistake and overturned the decision in the case in the BBC 3 documentary Sexomnia, Case Closed, which aired in 2022. In the program, she explained that in 2017, she woke up on a sofa with the feeling she had been raped while she slept. Within hours, she had reported to police. The suspect offered no comment when questioned about the CPS made the decision to charge him with rape. Okay. But in 2020, just days before the trial was due to start, Ms. McCrossin Nethercott was told by the CPS her rape case would not be taken to trial due to defense claims that she had experienced an episode of sexomnia. CPS said 2 sleep experts had given their opinion on the case after a police interview with Ms. McCrossin Nethercroft, where she was questioned about her sleep habits. According to the BBC, neither expert met or spoke to her. Okay, wait. So they just looked at her disposition and said, yeah, looking at her disposition, she definitely has sexomnia. Without actually talking to her herself, right? Just the police officer asking questions, not the expert themselves asking questions. This wild, crazy story. Miss McCrossin Nethercroft said she did not have sexomnia, but sleep experts were not able to rule out the possibility that she could have had an isolated episode on the night of the incident. Despite never appearing before a jury, the defendant was formally acquitted, leaving the case unable to be reopened without compelling new evidence. So that's why she's getting her big payout, because they fucked it up royally. Nice job, Crown Prosecution Service, for just throwing out a rape case because, oh yeah, sexomnia, and we're not going to look any deeper. Let's move on to the next case. So there's your two wild and wacky stories. On to yours.
Woo! Woo to the who. Next story. We're going to talk about Australia, the land down under, and they're banning in Melbourne. Are banning those. If you live in a major European city, you've probably seen these e-rental bike scooters, e-scooters all over the place. People maiming themselves to get across town a little quicker, and then banning them next to a tree or under a car or whatever. Well, anyway, they're banning them in Melbourne. Melbourne has become the latest city to ban rental e-scooters abruptly, moving to end a trial contract with two firms after a community revolt. After a 6-4 council vote last Tuesday, city authorities said they would give operators Lime and Neuron 30 days to rid the city center of the two-wheeled contraptions. You ever notice that vehicles that are anything new that nobody likes, they call it a contraption. Yeah. That's exactly what they moved to. It's not useful, it's just a contraption. This car, that thing that's a contraption. Get that thing out of here. That contraption. Anyway, I'm not anti-e-bike. I'm just, what the hell? They just seem unsafe. Mayor Nicholas Reese, a former executive of the men's health charity Movember, backed the move and said it had popular support. He alleged scooters had been scattered around the city like confetti, posing a risk to the community. And they're also, he called them contraptions. No, just kidding.
Dangerous contraptions.
For fans, e-scooters are a transport revolution, allowing commuters to zip around the crowded cities with ease and at minimal cost. For detractors, they're injury-inducing street litter and a hipster's plague on peaceful pedestrians. Oh, let's drag hipsters into this. If we're gonna drag something, let's pull all the slurs we can call. We call people hipsters. We call them machine contraptions. It's a contraption used by hipsters. That's a double whammy. Grr. Hipsters and their contraptions. Next, they're going to ban unicycles. In just 2 decades, e-scooters have grown into a worldwide market worth tens of billions of dollars a year. But Melbourne follows cities from Barcelona to Montreal in banning or limiting where e-scooters can go. Researchers at the University of New South Wales report the growth of e-scooters has brought a rise in related injuries and hospital admissions, mostly for men aged in the 20s to early 30s. No surprise, there's no safety device on these things at all. The brakes are basically just, you stop, you go flying. And if you got a passenger,
are your face when you hit the pavement, that's the brakes.
Yeah, your face hitting the ground. That was what you said, your face hitting the ground?
Yeah, hitting the pavement, yeah.
Yeah, you got teeth brakes. They're not the most effective. I mean, they'll stop you, for sure. Stop you dead in your face. The Royal Melbourne Hospital recorded 256 e-scooter-related injuries in 22. Rental company Neuron Mobility said Melbourne's drastic decision was made without proper discussion. We still believe that Melbourne is an excellent city for e-scooters. Don't believe that up until they get sued for all the injuries, and they'll be like, we need
well, no, you probably sign a liability waiver.
People.
When you sign up for using the scooters, right? Because you have to use your phone or something to activate them. So there's probably a liability. Yep. We're not responsible.
And everybody reads those small print.
Yeah.
The scooters we've seen, at least in Paris and wherever, it might have been Hamburg. Did we ride bikes in Hamburg? Well, the places we've seen them, they kind of melt together in my mind.
We rode bikes in Berlin and Hamburg. We didn't ride bikes in Paris. I think we just walked around.
But I first noticed the scooters in Paris, though, where people were riding them without
very popular
any
in
kind
Brussels
of safety
as well.
They're very popular. It's just the tourists I've seen on them and no training, and I've seen 2 young girls take a spill where the girl that was a passenger on the back had no idea that the thing was about to stop, and she's went splaying on the ground. I was like, oh, dentists are going to be busy today. All right, but Melbourne, let's go. Where was I now? I guess that was it. We still believe that Melbourne is extremely excellent city for e-scooters. Neuron's local general manager Jerry Bryant told AFP, if given an opportunity, we could quickly implement a variety of measures to address many, if not all, the councillors' concerns. But this is also a story from Yahoo.com, AFP. which is, I guess, one of their links, subgroups or something. AFP. I don't know what it stands for, but there you are. Maybe the Yahoo News junkies, though. Other news, Georgia mayor faces felony charges after investigators say he stashed alcohol in a ditch for prisoners. This is America's Georgia, not the one in Asia, or as they say, Eastern Europe. I guess it would be Eastern Europe. Thompson, Georgia, a mayor of a small Georgia town, has been indicted on charges that he illegally left a bottle of gin in a ditch for a state prison work crew, not a slate prison. Eyes aren't working. Yes, Thomas, this is from apnews.com. The mayor of a small Georgia town. Thompson Mayor Benji Carey Cranford was indicted on Wednesday and arrested by Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents. He faces felony charges for furnishing prohibited items to inmates in an attempt to commit a felony. The indictment issued on Wednesday said McDuffie County Superior Court says that 52-year-old Cranford drove to the store on June 3rd, bought a bottle of Seagram's Extra Dry Gin, and left it in a ditch along Georgia 150 in Townsend in the path of a work crew of state prisoners from the Jefferson County Correctional Institute. Townsend police on June 6th asked the GBI, I guess it's the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, to investigate the claim that Cranford gave alcohol to inmates, GBI said. Agents arrested Cranford at Thompson City Hall at their city council meeting, led him away in handcuffs, WRDW-TV reported. Cranford didn't answer questions from reporters after he was released from the McDuffie County Jail Wednesday on a $5,000 bail. Court records didn't list a lawyer for Cranford as of Tuesday, and he has not yet appeared before a judge. Other city officials declined comment. As we understand, the charges in this case are not related to Mr. Cranford's duty as an elected official. We do not have a comment, said Jason Smith, the local community development director who serves as a city spokesperson. Cranford could face suspension from office until charges are resolved if a panel recommends to Governor Brian Kemp that the charges harm Cranford's ability to act as mayor. Some other officials have been suspended when they face felony charges that were not directly related to their office. Cranford won election last year, beating 12-year incumbent Kenneth Ursery, a paving contractor, before he's elected. Cranford later settled a lawsuit that alleged he had tried to hide assets from a bonding company that was on the hook to pay some of the company's debts. So, again, he seems a little shady to start with, but what can you do? You gotta have a mayor. You got a town, you got to have a mayor, people run, and they're on the ballot. So you vote for that one or you vote for that one. So maybe they just had a choice between two crappy people and this guy won. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's in a lot of trouble providing booze to unnamed prisoners. Who knows what this guy's up to, right? There's your story. That's your RFK Jr. story type story for today. Unexplainable behavior. Brainworms, perhaps.
Brain worms in their brains.
I'm saying brainworms taking over.
Well, some people, this is more of like, we live in a wacky society news story coming from The Independent by Harry Stedman. Around 1.6 million UK children are growing up in households where an adult is experiencing a problem with gambling, a new report has found. That's a lot of children. Children exposed to gambling are also 4 times more likely to what? Go on to experience such gambling issues themselves. We live in a society. The findings were made in a charity Gamble Aware's annual treatment and support survey, which looked at the use of and reported demand for advice, support, and treatment among those who gamble and those affected by another's gambling. The study, carried out last November, included an online YouGov survey of more than 18,000 British adults, as well as one-to-one interviews with current and former gamblers on online focus groups with affected others. For the first time, the research included questions on former gambling to understand the experience of people who used to gamble, including legacy harms. It found an estimated 1.65 million children under 18 are growing up in households where an adult is experiencing a problem gambling. Up to 130,000 people who used to gamble said they were still experiencing harms from previous gambling. while an estimated 1.2 million adults who used to gamble reported feeling the urge to gamble again in the last 6 months. Data obtained from the study found almost half, or 44%, of those experiencing problems with gambling were at a high risk of suicide. Great. There's also increasingly demand for services and support around gambling, particularly amongst the affected others. Yeah, there's people out there who are affected by your gambling and you're ruining their lives, and they need the gambling support. They need support for being associated with you, I guess. With numbers rising to 29%
waste all your money
in 2022 to 35% last year. Wow, it's gone up. Oh, I need to get lucky, and this is the only way because we're in late stage capitalism, baby. So unless you win the lottery, you're going to be working for somebody who treats you like crap. A number of issues are preventing people. That's my theory, anyways, why there's so many people gambling. They just have no hope. Their only hope is luck-based fortune. Yeah.
It is addictive.
Yeah. It is an
addiction.
You have
addictive behaviors.
Like when we talked about addiction to video games, right? They had they were doing the support for that in also gambling addiction support groups.
Oh.
A number of issues are preventing people from seeking support with gambling issues, including the cost of living crisis and the accessibility of gambling, the study found. Yeah, it's way easier to just like log on to a random gambling website and just keep pressing. They like make it really easy where they tie it to your bank account, your credit card, and it doesn't even question it, and you can just keep going and going and going.
Links right to your bank account. All you gotta do is transfer the money over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. In its report, GambleWare called for a pre-watershed ban on TV advertising of gambling, improved health warnings on all gambling advertising, and a ban on gambling marketing at sporting events. Joe Osmond, chief executive of GambleWare, said the figures highlighted the impact of normalization of gambling across society on individuals, families, and communities, and revealed a concerning link between early exposure to gambling at a younger age and the risk of harms in later life. He said, "Gambling harms can affect anyone, which is why it's so important that we break down the stigma associated with it and encourage people to come forward and talk about gambling harm. We also need to go further to protect people from experiencing gambling harms in the first place. This is why we are calling for a more strategic government-led approach, greater investment in prevention and treatment programs to address gambling harm in Great Britain. That includes increased regulation of gambling advertising." Dame Rachel de Souza, Children's Commissioner for England, welcomed the increased recognition of the harms caused by gambling on a serious public health issue. She said, "I want to see far more attention given to the impact of gambling on children and young people. I'm particularly concerned about new, easily accessible forms of gambling online that obscure the risks and the harms and are increasingly pervasive in children's lives. We allow gambling to be normalized for young people through continued exposure to advertising and gambling activities in online games. We risk a long-term impact on their lives, on their mental or physical health, relationships, and financial well-being." Yes, this is, for example, why they took gambling out of Pokemon games. Pokemon games used to have, roulette and, reels, that kind of stuff. And they remade some games, and when they put the remakes back in, they took out the gambling parts of all the original version. Because, children can feed you into gambling. You know what? I really enjoyed the reels in Pokemon, so I'm gonna go try it in real life, and next thing you know, you have a gambling addiction. So, a spokesperson for Betting and Gaming Council, BGC, which represents more than 90% of the regulated betting and gaming sector in the UK, said, "BGC members voluntarily donated over 170 million over the past 4 years to independent research, prevention and treatment services to tackle problem gambling and gambling-related harm. Each month, around 22.5 million people in Britain enjoy a bet, and the overwhelming majority do so safely and responsibly. The most recent NHS Health Survey for England estimated that 0.4% of the adult population are problem gamblers." Yeah, but that's still 1.6 million children being affected by gambling. Think of the children!
At least. They have more than one children.
Yeah, exactly. There's your wacky and weird society news about England and their gambling addiction problem, I guess. On to yours.
Righto. What are the odds that that succeeds? Anyway, just a bad gambling joke. Anyway, I sent you a video you might have seen, but I just keep reminding you because I'm old. It's Senior Citizens Day after all. And we're going to more weird news as we talk about pets. Do you know you can buy an insurance policy on your pet? That's true. Insurance companies will insure just about anything. I'm just not sure what this costs or anything, but because it's a weird thing to me, buy insurance on your pet. Anyway, this is from Ben Hooper of UPI.com. Nationwide shares most unusual pet insurance claims for the year. Insurance company Nationwide announces finalists for the year's Hambone Award, which celebrates the most unusual pet insurance claims of the year. The Hambone Award, named in honor of a dog who ate an entire holiday ham while stuck in a refrigerator, aims to shed light on I want to hear that story. To shed light on the everyday and sometimes bizarre incidents that can befall our beloved pets. This year's finalists include Archie, a New Jersey dog who injured his paws when he broke through a vintage plate glass door while trying to alert his family of the mail carrier's arrival. And Bear, a Pennsylvania corgi, who bit into a bottle of nail adhesive and effectively glued his mouth shut. A New Jersey parrot named Clover also made the list after a growth spurt caused toenails on her feet to hook together. I wonder if that just... If he got fastened to the perch and couldn't get off, huh? A Florida dog named Irma suffered from gastrointestinal issues that turned out to have been the result of eating metal wire pieces believed to be from a barbecue brush. It probably tasted pretty good. And a Virginia dog named Gordon swallowed 2 large rocks from her owner's garden. Rounding out the finalists is Lambo, a North Carolina dog who ate more than 250 jigsaw puzzle pieces. All of the pets nominated for the award have made full recoveries. Members of the public can vote for the favor of the finalists through Thursday, with the winner set to be announced on August 27. Every year, the Hambone Award celebrates the recoveries of our pet nominees made possible by the dedication of the pet parents and the expertise of veterinary healthcare teams. Jules Benson, Vice President of Pet Health and Chief Veterinary Officer at Nationwide, said in a news release, "We applaud both and continue to focus on supporting them as we provide pets with the care they need." So I'm sure a lot more bizarre things have happened to pets in the last year, but they probably weren't insured, so Nationwide didn't know about them. So there's your story in that, and other weird news as we hop along on the news briefs of the Weird Wednesday. We're looking at UPI.com with Ben Hooper again. Another short one. A postcard arrives at Wales at address 121 years late.
Wow.
That's right. The Swansea Building Society said on social media that the postcard arrived at its Craddock Street, Swansea address with the rest of the mail on Friday. The postcard was addressed to Lydia Davis, who employees theorize may have lived at the address back when it was a house rather than a bank. The addresses are correct. We are still at 11 and 12 Craddock Street, but it's 120 years later than expected. Henry Darby, the bank's marketing communications officer, told the Wales Online. It's wild, actually. A little bit spooky. The stamp itself is King Edward, so he was king from 1901 until 1910. And you could tell straight away from the handwriting and the way it speaks, "Dearest, I could not." It was very much of the time. Darby said much of the postcard is unreadable now, but the postmark appears to bear the date August 3rd, 1903. A spokesman for the Royal Mail said the story behind the postcard's late arrival is unclear. It is likely that the postcard was put back into our system rather than being lost in the post for over a century. When an item is in our system, we are under obligation to deliver it to the correct address. So hopefully the postcard was good news and not bad news. Like, hey, Dad's, hemorrhoids are back or something, something terrible like that. But we couldn't read it, but we know it's late and it was delivered eventually to the right address. So give a raise to that postal worker for digging that out finally. And there's your great news for today. The mail always arrives, even if it's a little bit late.
Even if you're already bones in the grave.
Little tiny bit late. And I hope Lydia enjoys her rest. But they're never receiving that postcard. It's kind of sad. She was probably waiting for it. That guy. He said he was going to write me a postcard. He never did. And she went to her grave thinking that he doesn't care. Anyway. That's kind of depressing. Back to you.
Okay. I was like, is that how you're going to end it? All right. Then let's go.
I got much to say.
Let's go to our culture segment here about the Edinburgh Fringe highlights. At least from Euronews Culture's perspective. This is from Johnny Walfitz. At Euronews Culture, Edinburgh Fringe has been trolling for the shows. They have been trolling through Edinburgh Fringe's shows, so you don't have to. And here's their 5 highlights from the comedy of this year. While Edinburgh Fringe is a cultural festival that attracts all kinds of artists, the vast majority of punters come for the comedy. After scouring through as much possible of the comedy on offer in this year's Edinburgh Fringe, Euronews has compiled the best comedians to make it up the Scottish capital. First, you've got Joe Kent Walters and Frankie Monroe live. One of the biggest hits of this year's festival comes from a dank working men's club in Rochdale. That's also a portal to hell. Well, that's what 2023 BBC New Comedy Award winner Joe Kent Walters would have you believe in his surreal character comedy show as club owner Frankie Monroe. With lashings of pseudocreme on his face that drips off as he sweats, getting in his bloodshot eyes as an act of pure masochism, Frankie Monroe was a genius creation. The sleazy character would be deeply unsettling. It all kicks off with Kent Walters strangling himself in a magic trick that's for his sick pleasure, but never tips the scales into creepy due to Kent Walters' precise mix of self-aware charm and sheer assault of precisely intended incoherence. The next set piece is a song about his special garden trowel. The comedy is found somewhere between the millennial random humor of the Mighty Boosh and the more contemporary chaos of Sam Campbell. The Mighty Boosh that's something. If you ever haven't seen that show, watch it. You'll be very bewildered. That's definitely a show for a wacky and weird Wednesday. Kent Walters plays with the audience as his affable, if deranged, club owner, getting them to play along with his questionable magic tricks, sing along to convoluted songs, and be the butt of the good-natured northern bully. Kent Walters' commitment to the bit is what sells the show here, leading to a gratifyingly silly finale as Monroe finally succumbs to his Faustian pact. Next up is Sophie Duker with But Daddy, I Love Her. Sophie Duker's comedy star has been in ascendance for a while, and thanks to a wildly popular appearance on TV series Taskmaster, her fans have grown legion. When she bursts onto the stage for But Daddy, I Love Her, she gleefully charges through the crowd to a rapturous applause. It's earned exactly the validation she's looking for as Duker runs through a set of all but about delulu. That's the Gen Z term for delusion, but in a camp way. Duker always thought her vibe was of a cool girl, but as she's getting older and learning about herself via therapy sessions with her ridiculously Italian counselor Michelangelo, she's leaning into a new modern take on self-acceptance. You don't have to face the music of reality if you just accept the Delulu lifestyle. I'm just delusional, and I don't care. On the way, we learn about her strained relationship with her absent-ish father, her mother's own Delulu lifestyle, collecting vials of holy water, and Duker owning her queer identity. Duker's brilliance lies in her unshakable, charming persona on stage, paired with the whip-smart observational humor. A bit about mistaking Bessel van der Kolk's trauma therapy research books titled The Body Keeps the Score as merely as a quirky British idiom in one of the funniest comedy bits he's seen this year. Be warned, men in the front row will be mercilessly, if good-humorally, picked on. She will get you. Next is Laura Rico, Little Tiny Wet Show, Baptism. Mexican comedian Laura Rico has made a big splash or I guess it's ricote, because she's Mexican, has made a big splash on the UK comedy scene in recent years with increasingly regular appearances on TV panel shows. Her Fringe show this year has been an unsurprising hit from the joyful comic who brings her whole self to the stage. From the off, she confronts the audience that yes, this is just how her voice sounds. It's a brazenly earnest set that deals with her relationship to Argentinian comedy Pere Rodil, and also brought his excellent show Pampa's Pride to Edinburgh for his single performance. And their trials and tribulations, from his moving to the Netherlands to be with her, going through couples therapy, and an in-your-face routine about disassociating during sex. Ricote has made it clear that this show is about her attempting to make real connections with both individuals in her life and audiences. This manifests as a bit where she has the audience select a name for itself, countdown name generation style, leading to her affectionately referring to the crowd as Jog Laroo throughout the entire set, a joke which never gets tired. From the impact of growing up with beads instead of doors, to her deafness and Rodil's lack of smell being the perfectly matching disabilities in a relationship. Ricote's joyful appearance to life's hurdles makes this set essential. Then we have Ros Matefio, on and on and on. At the very start of her set, New Zealand comedian Ros Matefio jokes that the Fringe standard hour is too long for a comedy set. Instead, everyone would far rather it was a cool 50 minutes, ensuring no one starts gazing at their watches around the 45-minute mark. She then launches into one of her most frenetic and relentless sets, making Wallfits wonder if Matefio is the fastest talking comedian of this year's Fringe for the sheer volume of material she fits into her 1-hour routine. As the title suggests, Matefio likes to go on and on, but largely it's because she's never comfortable with endings. Whether it's for her comedy routines or her relationships, her trademark uncertain delivery between jokes belies the careful orchestration as she zips through non sequiturs about her tome-worthy iPhone notes app, word count full of forlorn lovesick poetry and cucumber puns, to insights about self-care and growth. The whole set is in service for Matefio to assert her dominance over precious previous breakups. So much so that she dresses the audience down hilariously when they fall for her suggestion that the whole thing has a happy ending as she's now engaged. When the set actual ending comes, it comes with a surprisingly neat tying together that shows glints of her screenwriting work on the excellent BBC show Starstruck. And finally, the fifth show that Wallfits found as the funniest comedy on the Edinburgh Fringe is Stories from the Office of a Sex Dungeon. One of Fringe's most enjoyable qualities is the chance to encounter something brilliant on a whim. This free Fringe show was a surprise highlight from Catherine Henson, a New York-based writer who spends the hour regaling tales from her time working as a manager in a BDSM dungeon. The entire thing is a casual affair, with Henson taking questions from the audience about the strangest kinks she's encountered. How everyone should rush at the opportunity to be fin-dommed, look it up, and a Hasidic Jew's innermost desires. Scheduled for 2:30 p.m., don't be mistaken by the timing. This is very much an 18-plus show. So there you go. Edinburgh is still taking place until the 26th of August, so get your tickets now to go check out these shows if you happen to find yourself in Scotland. And on to this day in history.
Did you know, and I was looking this up in Wikipedia, that the Edinburgh Festival Fringe is the third most ticketed event in the world, behind only
impressive.
the Olympics and the World Cup. Do you believe that? Anyway, that's what Wikipedia says. I mean, and don't forget, the Olympics and World Cup only happen every 4 years. They don't happen every year. So this is the world's most ticketed annual event. Interesting.
And somehow they wanted to cancel
Edinburgh
it.
Festival Fringe.
I can't believe it.
What's that?
I don't know if you remember, but we
anyway.
did a story about how the people who run the Edinburgh Festival are like, oh, we just can't do it. It's too hard. Or we might not do it next time. But it's the most ticketed.
We went to a blues festival there.
Yeah. Edinburgh was very
July, though. So, yeah, it's
artful city, I would say.
Yeah, I like Edinburgh. I could live in Scotland. You already know that. Maybe I'll just join that commune. I'll join that commune over there, and you don't have to I can milk cows till the cows come home. Literally, the cows leave home. Anyway,
we'll do a whole series on it. The before coffee commune episodes, and then we'll just do a month.
Yeah,
we're on the commune still.
Gather. I can do old man work, like bitching. I'm good at that. Bitching. I'm really good at bitching. Anyway, this day in history, 1808, British General Arthur Wellesley used his thin red line of infantry to defeat French and General Adoche Junot's forces at the Battle of Vimeiro, leading the British to control of Portugal. So in 1808, British just said we control Portugal for a little while. 1831, the Nat Turner in an unsuccessful slave rebellion in the American South, which killed 60 people before being stopped by a 3,000-man militia. Now, you can say it was unsuccessful, but I'm pretty sure a slave rebellion was going to be unsuccessful from the start. I say it was successful because it killed 60 people. And I mean, you're going to have a slave revolt, you just can't be going around being nice, right? You got to make these people pay. So if they want to say it's a unsuccessful slave revolt, they can, but to me, I think it served its purpose of scaring the shit out of people. So, again, if slavery was so good to people, if slavery was just a jobs program, why was there slave revolts? Why was there slave rebellions in 1831? You would have figured we'd all be happy with their apprenticeship programs or all entered in with their diplomas on the wall or whatever the hell. Florida is trying to teach school children these days, It was just a farm system for the baseball leagues. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, on to other things in history. In 1858, the famous debates in Illinois between Abraham Lincoln, Republican Party nominee for the U.S. Senate, and incumbent Senator Stephen A. Douglas of the Democratic Party began in 1858. Those two ran for Senate against each other, and 2 years later, they ran for president against each other. The same two people. Isn't that weird? 1942, the animated film Bambi had its theatrical release in the United States, and it became a classic in the Disney canon, noted for its lush hand-drawn animation and sensitive, effective narrative. Happy birthday to Bambi, the movie. 1959, on this day, Hawaii became the 50th state. The last time the United States allowed a state to become a state was on this day in 1959. Happy anniversary to Hawaii. You are now 65. You're old enough to be a senior citizen on Senior Citizens Day.
Yay!
And in 1987, what movie is this from? Don't put baby in the corner. Oh, sorry. Nobody puts baby in the corner. You already know it. Which movie? You don't know?
Footloose.
Are you there?
I said.
Nope, it's Dirty Dancing, another movie about dancing with Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey.
Dancing,
Nobody puts.
God damn it.
That's right. It's Dirty Dancing. 1987, the movie premiered with, of course, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, and it became a huge and enduring hit. And a song by Fall Out Boy. 1991, Latvia declared its independence from the Soviet Union. They said, "Take that, Soviet Union. We don't need your shit." Anyway, and also on this day in 2017, for the first time in nearly 40 years, the continental United States experienced a total solar eclipse, which was viewed from Oregon, South Carolina, and famously, Defendant J. Trump was looking directly at it, which you're told not to do. But there's a picture of him going, "Oh, I don't need those fancy glasses. I'm special." Now he's got a permanent little circle on it, burned into his retinas because he's a moron. But he'll never admit it, that he's blinking all the time because he's, it's a circle.
You can't see.
Anyway, so, yeah. So don't look directly at an eclipse unless you just want to have little circles burned into your retinas. It's also a future event. This day, 1911, Mona Lisa was stolen. Do you know why the Mona Lisa is the most famous painting in the world? Not because it's the best painting, not because it's Leonardo da Vinci's best painting, not anything of the sort. It's only famous because it got stolen. A lot of people realize that.
Yeah.
On this day, in 1911, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre by 3 Italian handymen. It was not recovered until 1913. The media sensation helped make it one of the world's most famous paintings. So the fact that it was stolen increased its value, increased the aura around it. Leonardo was like, that was just a neighbor girl.
It must be amazing.
Yeah. Did not, apparently the eyes follow you across the room, but at least this version of it, she's just looking over my shoulder. So I don't know what the deal is on that one. So next time we're in Paris, we got to visit the Louvre and see if it's still there, I guess. Or somebody walked off with it again. Our feature biography today is Count Basie, American musician, born August 21st, 1904 in Red Bank, New Jersey, and died at the age of 79 in Hollywood, Florida. Nice retirement village. Lived at a ripe old age of 79. Died in 1984, April 26. Other birthdays today, Princess Margaret, British royal, born in 1930. So Princess Margaret turning 94 today. Wilt Chamberlain, born in 1936, American basketball player. Wilt the Stilt, they call him. He was 7'2". And 1938 is the birthday of American singer-songwriter Kenny Rogers. 1938 he was born, so knowing when to hold him and when to fold him. Kenny Rogers' birthday. It's Sergey Brin, American entrepreneur's birthday. He was born in 1973. And Usain Bolt, Jamaican athlete, who was once the fastest human. Born in 1986. Happy birthday to Usain Bolt, Jamaican sprinter. And what other days is it today? It's National Spumoni Day, which is a gelato concoction of various flavors of gelato, which is Italian ice cream. And National Senior Citizens Day, which I've mentioned like 8 times now. And it's Brazilian Blowout Day, with not a Brazilian like wax job, the Brazilian Blowout, which I guess is a hairstyle where you just blow your hair and it's straight and whatever. Not exactly, I could look it up. Recognize the Brazilian blowout that day provides an opportunity to put your best self forward, starting with your beautiful locks. Ooh, my beautiful locks. Oh, let's see. Ooh.
Yeah,
While summer weather celebrates beach trips. Ooh, beautiful locks. Vacation, barbecues, and carefree attitude could also be a hair nightmare with humidity and all-time high. Frizzy hair is a full effect across the nation. Therefore, a Brazilian blowout claims your tresses and allows you to embrace your most beautiful self.
You know what? You know Fabio?
So I guess just making sure you're... Fabio, that's me. I'm Fabio.
No, that's what he has. He has a Brazilian blowout. That's what you would look like if you had one. You would that hair just everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, I definitely... Oh, I should rent myself
on
as Fabio.
If you had a Brazilian blowout,
I
think I would have... My brain would break. I'd be so confused.
Your brain would break? You'd be like, what?
Why did he do that to his hair? I'm so confused. Not your vibe.
Because I'm weird. It's Weird Wednesday.
Yeah,
it's Weird Wednesday.
You should have done it, man.
And that's your days for today, which is August 21st. We're moving right along through August. August 21st, 2024 on Before Spumoni.
Before Spumoni. Okay,
Spumoni,
this has been Allison here from the Netherlands. That's our wacky and weird news for today, and we will see you tomorrow for our Thursdays 13. Rog will count down 13 things, and it's a surprise what it's gonna be. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live, so you can find out what he's going to be telling us about. Take care out there. The weather is getting colder here, so hopefully it continues to do that, because we don't want overheating of people and the water to evaporate.
Oh, and this is the day, this is around the time when the light changes, I noticed. Yeah. The light starts hitting at a different angle, and it starts hitting at that fall angle instead of the, it might hit there earlier in the year, but I noticed it. Yeah, I've noticed it. The leaves are starting to turn a little yellow.
So if you are a fall girly or a fall
direction
boy,
of the ultraviolet rays.
If you're a fall boy, it's your time to shine. Let's go ahead and go to our
Fallout boy.
Yeah, our Fallout boy. Our mic drop moment.
A Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
Never seen Michelle Obama so good on a speech.
Unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us.
Yep.
See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Of course, Trump said, the immigrants are coming to take the black jobs. Huh? What's a black job?
Yeah, let me know what that is.
His same old con, doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real
she's
ideas
saying
and
all the
solutions
words.
that
Hell
will
yeah.
actually make people's lives better.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top
All right.
stories.
Lester
Thanks
Holt
for
pops in at the
watching.
end.
News app or follow us on social media.
All right, then.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.